Hi guys! Welcome back to our channel. My name is Ariana.
And I'm Daniela.
And this is our second episode of the Twinfluence. So today, what are we talking about, sister? Today, what are we talking about?
Well, you know, one thing that we keep talking about, and I feel like it's common with this age group, is like, ooh, I'm closer to 30 than I am 20. That is crazy.
That's insane. I was gonna ask you about perception of time. Do you think COVID has impacted your perception of time? Because I still can't believe that we are 27.
Yeah.
Like, COVID really did a number on me personally. Like, I need at least 2 years back.
No, COVID definitely robbed us of
Take me back to 25.
2 years. It's like, I graduated college, was getting ready to go to grad school. I was like, it's lit. I'm gonna be outside this summer.
Period.
This school year is gonna be great. I moved out of my mom's house. Like, I had a job. I was, you know, grad school was gonna be it for me. And the world shut down.
Said, gosh darn it.
Nothing went the way that I thought it was going to be. And it's so crazy because at 20, how old was I? 22?
Yeah.
It's like that's like that weird transitional period where it's like, all right, I'm 22, I'm finally an adult, but I'm getting closer to 25. And 25, just like 30, brought so many expectations as to where I thought I was going to be and what 25 would look like. And now I'm like, I'm about to be 30 and it don't look like any of these things are going to happen. Like,
it's looking slow.
It's looking real slow.
Yeah.
But you know, in the Lord's time, and so I get, it's fine. It's fine. But the pandemic really did do a number because that time was like a black hole.
Yeah. For a lot of people.
And everything just like went still and everything went quiet. And like there was no opportunity to like be much of a human being outside of our home.
Yeah.
So yeah, COVID definitely robbed
Yeah.
me of 2 years.
I agree.
But on the flip side, I'm not exactly sure who I would be if we didn't have the pandemic.
That's a fact. That is a fact.
Yeah.
I know for me, in 2020, I was a 5th year senior at school, so I was finishing up my last semester. I only had one class, I believe. It was an online class too, so we didn't get to walk across the stage like we were supposed to. We had a virtual commencement, and it was just terrible times for me personally.
Yeah, they did y'all dirty.
Yeah, and just mentally and all that stuff too. It was just an awful time. Like 2020 to like end of 2021, beginning of 2022. I didn't start to feel better until like 2022, I think. So yeah, but like perception of time, like mentally, I really am still like 24, 25. Like, at least, let me not say mentally, like socially. It's like, I should be outside, but it's like, I'm actually 27. I go outside and there's a whole bunch of college kids. Like, I'm getting my master's, but I'm like, I'm not undergrad college kid anymore, so you can't hang like you used to, friend.
You get tired by 8:30.
Yo, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Back hurting.
Yeah.
Knees hurting.
Fine for my life.
Yeah.
Yawning, checking my emails at the club. Like, that's crazy. At the bar, it's crazy. Like, ugh. Girl. But yeah. So, I know you want to talk about something very particular in this episode. So, what did you want to talk about today?
I was thinking that we can talk about lessons from your 20s. I know that we're not done with our 20s yet, but I feel like we have enough experience in our 20s to talk about some of the things that we've learned, some of the lessons that's come from it.
Yes.
Especially given that we've had this pandemic, and there's no way around it. That's been our world. That's what shaped our perspective.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not sure if that helped or hurt some of the ideas of where we thought we would be by now. Because it's like, when I was in high school, I was like, all right, by 25, I'm going to be like a real adult. I'm going to own a house. I'm going to have a car. I'm going to be married. I'm going to have kids. I'm going to like make all this money. And when I was 25, we were still going through the pandemic. Like, outside was not open like that, really. If I'm being quite honest. Like, I think outdoor,
it was just starting
to kind of open up again, but things are very weird.
Restricted.
Yeah, so now at 27, it's like, pandemic who, pandemic where?
Everybody's
But even
outside.
last year, like at work, like, I was wearing a mask.
Yeah.
Still.
And I still wear a mask here and there on my job too. Here and there, just depends.
Yeah, I didn't even know what my colleagues looked like, really, in the hospital.
Okay.
So, Yeah, so really wanted to think about and reflect on our 20s and some of the lessons that we've had, some of the things that's come out of it. And I don't know, maybe it can be advice for people who are like in their early 20s.
Hey girl. Or guy. If you see little fluff ball, it's just a dog. She's chilling. Her name is Lilu, Lilu. There she goes. Oh my god, okay. I should have never touched her because she loves comfort. She loves to be petted and rubbed. But yeah, look at her. But anyways, so I was actually going to make a TikTok of all of the lists. I made a list of like all the things that I've learned so far.
You came prepared.
I did.
We're going off the dome today because it's quite a bit.
I made a list a long time ago. I think a lot of these are positives and negatives, or they can be looked at. They can be looked as.
Oh, you came prepared.
Yeah.
That list. Oh my god. Oh
Yeah,
wow.
I learned a lot.
Okay. Well,
lot.
what's the tea?
So,
Beans.
So I guess I don't even know which one to start. Like
Start with the first one.
the first one. Okay, so the first one.
Where's the most juice? Maybe it'll lead up to the juice.
Yeah, so the first one that I wrote down was.
Lulu, please. My hands are broken.
So some of the things I have written down, or the first thing that I have written down on my list, is be careful who you vent to / stop telling people your business. One lesson. How do you feel?
You know what that says to me?
What does it say?
You need better discernment. The
Facts.
company you keep,
Facts.
the people around, and like
That's a lesson in itself too.
yeah, that's a lesson in itself, and that's something that I learned too. Not necessarily being mindful of who you vent to,
Mm-hmm.
but I also think sometimes the things that are your business doesn't have to be everybody else's business.
Mm-hmm.
Like it really is using your discernment to say, okay, is this for me to share?
Right.
Or is it something that I keep to myself? And
Mm-hmm.
also, if you are sharing things with people, sharing them in a way it's not, and I hate to say like burdening other people, but just making sure that other people have the capacity. So I think we have this experience, but on the flip side, where I've experienced people who say only reach out to me when like they want to vent.
Yeah.
Or when they have things going on.
I've experienced that too, but you've definitely experienced that a lot more than I have. But
Right. So it's like
Yeah.
I've gone into the habit most of the time of saying, do you have capacity for me to have this conversation with you or
Mhm.
for us to talk about this?
Mhm.
Because sometimes I genuinely don't have the capacity, and it's like I couldn't even stand like picking up my phone because it was just literally, and I'm not even exaggerating, bad news after bad news after bad news. Like opening my phone, getting a text message from somebody, opening my Snapchat, getting a Snapchat from someone. And it's like, and I think especially since we've gone through like so much with our family over the past couple of years, that is what really made me mindful too of like being mindful of who I vent to.
Right.
Because based on the things that we were going through, not everyone had the capacity to one, understand, or two, wanted to hear about that.
Yeah.
Because it was pretty dark.
Yeah.
And it was hard.
It was.
And also sometimes with that, there are some people who just want to know what's going on in your life,
Yeah.
not out of genuine curiosity,
Mm-hmm.
but the intention is like not good.
Right.
Like, do you want people around you that's just going to keep score on you and keep score of all the bad things that are
Mhm.
happening to you, and like that's the only things that they care about?
Right.
No, because
And-
that's not a friend.
Right. And that's why I said you have to be mindful of who you vent to when you tell your business to, because I think in my personal experiences, like I mentioned before, during the pandemic, I was going through a very hard time, and I had confided in certain people about what was going on, but they never had capacity. But I didn't know that.
Mm.
Right? And I've had an experience before the pandemic with someone else where I had expressed to the person that I didn't have capacity, and that ended horribly. Right? And so with this dynamic, when they didn't have capacity, I didn't know. Come to find out, they were confiding in each other about it. So I just felt blindsided, and I was just like, what? And so, you know what happened this past year with these people, because obviously you're a part of it. But things were just, like, my situation was, like, thrown in my face, and I was completely blindsided, and I was just like, how are you holding me responsible for a conversation you chose not to have with me, but was having with everybody else? That's not cool, type thing. So now I feel like I can't even tell nobody my business anymore, or I feel like I can't, confide in people anymore at the same level that I was. Because it's like, if you just didn't have capacity, I would have understood that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I would have never made you feel bad or scolded you for it. Because at the end of the day, everyone has things going on. If you don't have capacity, you don't have capacity.
Yeah.
But you have to let me know.
I think it takes a lot of maturity to say, like, hey, I hear you and I understand you're going through a hard time, but I don't have the space to talk about this. Right. Especially, so, like, I'm not siding with those people.
No, I know.
But I definitely can see how it can be really hard to say that sometimes, especially when you know someone is really going through it and, like, they are your people.
Right.
So it's like, how do I tell someone that I don't want to hear about this right now without making them feel rejected or ashamed?
And I've been in that position too.
Right. And that.
Right. And that's what I'm saying. I can understand that.
But I think the way that maybe they. The way that they went about that.
Yeah.
Was just
and the way that I found out about it, and just the way that it was just the way that it was, like, it was like a dig. My situation was thrown at me like a dig. And that I was like, yeah, y'all would never know my business ever again. Like, I'm already the type of person who I don't really have a lot of stuff going on anyways. It was just during that time period, like I said, during the pandemic, we just all had things going on, and mentally I just was not there. And I thought we were all confiding in each other because we were all going through our own things too. So I thought we were just having vent sessions, whatever the case is. Coming to find out, people just didn't have capacity for my ish. And I'm like, that's fine. You don't have to have capacity. But you also can be mad at me and spazzing on me for something that you can be mad at me because you weren't mature enough to have a conversation with me, but you're having a conversation with other people. That's what I don't appreciate.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, so that's why I'm just like, yeah, I'm cool.
That's definitely, I do think that if someone doesn't have capacity to, like, have certain conversations with you, at some point it is their responsibility to say, hey, look, maybe can we table this for another time?
Right.
But I also do think when you're going through things and you are going to people, and it's not just like one or two times, when it's a constant ongoing conversation, like, it is partially your responsibility to see if the people around you want to keep having these same conversations and want to talk about this. Because although you're going through things, it's like recognizing that other people are going through things. So I think it's just like that human to human, like, respect and empathy for one another, and that can be really hard. And
that's what I thought we had. I thought it was just like a mutual type of thing. I guess, what am I trying to say? I never, like, made anyone feel bad, because, like, as much as I was going to them, they were coming to me as well. So I'm thinking we all just like, you know, type. They would bring up things more than once, not thinking anything of it, but I guess just me and who I am, I just was like, okay, like, if you're going through your thing, do your thing. But I guess when people don't have capacity, they just don't have capacity, and I can't be mad at other people for doing that, for not having capacity. If you don't have capacity, that's fine. I just really just feel like people just need to be more mature enough to just say that, right? And just to be honest. And obviously, as a self-reflector, because I'm someone who likes to self-reflect on my issues, and, like, things that I've done, like, maybe I could have did something different too. Like, that time period is all a blur, so I don't even remember half the stuff, you know, because I just tend, a lot of things that I deem traumatizing to me, I just bury in the back of my head. Like, I don't think about those times. It's all it's just not a thought in my brain. And so when it happened, and in the way that it happened, and the information that I found out months later, I was just like, I can understand that y'all didn't have capacity, and maybe I could have done been better in I guess being more, I guess, considerate, I guess. But I thought, but the way that everything was kind of laid out, I thought we were all giving each other a safe space, and so now I feel unsafe. Yeah.
And not everyone is a safe space. Not everyone is meant to be a safe space for you. Like, you have your people, like, it's kind of like in college. You have your people that you party with, the people that you do your homework with, the people that you hang with, like, whatever. It's different when you're an adult. Yeah. Maybe, sometimes. But that's why you really got to, like, use your discernment when it comes to the people that you're keeping around you. Because if people are being, like, interesting, like, strange. Yeah. When you first meet them and at the beginning of your friendship with them or relationship or whatever it's going on with them, and you notice these little things that make you feel uncomfortable and rub you the wrong way, those are signs. Those are signs. Not to say that, like, people are always going to be perfect people, but that's not the case. And not to say that you should just dump people and, like, just sever ties with someone because they say something that makes you feel some type of way. No, it's not about that. It's really, if something comes up in your friendship with them that makes you feel unsafe,
right,
repetitively and over time, like, don't overlook those things, because those are huge indicators of the type of friend that that person is, and the type of friend that that person will be to you. Like, if
or even just other relationships too.
Right, like if you observe the way that they show up in other relationships with other people, what makes you think you're going to be any different? If you see how some people talk to other people, what makes you think that you're going to be any different? You're not.
Okay.
Most of the time. I mean, it's the truth, because it's easy to say, like, oh, I'm special, or oh, our friendship is different because you're my best friend. Your best friend, treat everybody else this way. Just because you classify yourself higher on the hierarchy doesn't mean that they're not going to treat you the same way. If you notice that this person likes to go around and gossip and like chat people business all the time, what makes you think that they're not going to go and talk about your business to other people when you're not in the room?
Right. Jamaican community, what? Chat your business.
I mean, it's
the truth though.
Chat your
business.
But like,
it's the truth though. It's
the truth.
It is. Yeah.
You know, and if you're trying to have a conversation with someone about something that's like really impactful for you and really meaningful for you, and their response is just not the response that you want. I mean, sometimes the response that you want isn't always the response that you need. So
yeah.
But like, if that person is like not interested, and they, you know, just make you feel bad for going to them as a friend and a resource, then that's not a friend, or at least that's not someone that you can go to for an emotional connection.
Right. And that's kind of like how I felt too. I was just like, I thought we were all kind of using each other as emotional support, but I guess it was just more one-sided. Maybe it's just my view. I don't really know. But I also kind of had to realize that with myself too, like with other friends in these past couple years. Like, I think seeing or being in a relationship with different types of people and seeing how they navigate with other people and like the treatment that you receive, like, that bothers me. And it's like, I understand that we all have different roles in different places. Like you said, like sometimes you're just a college, like in college, you are just like the party friend, or you do your homework with this, whatever the case is. And I understand that. But I think for me and in my life, people just like to say a lot of things and make it seem like our relationship is more than what it is, and it's not.
Talk is cheap.
Yeah, it is.
What people say and what people do are two different things. And if you see that that's incongruent, they need to be demoted to a different scale on that friendship hierarchy, because that is just, if you're inconsistent.
Yeah. And honestly, like in 2023, I did a clean sweep of everybody. Everybody had to go. Because I've had friends, like I said, with the situation, throwing things on my face, not communicating with me, then whatever. And then this other person, like, just chatting and just making it seem like we were cool or whatever the case is, but we weren't. Or like, I see them treating their other peers or friends in a certain way compared to me, and I'm just like, not compared to me, but like, when you see, like y'all know what I'm talking about, like when you're friends with people and you're really close with people and you see how they move with you, but they have other friend groups or friends or whatever the case is, and they treat them like different. Yes, every friend group is different, but I feel like I'm having a hard time explaining it, just because I don't want to name drop or nothing like that. But it's like, y'all know what I'm talking about. Like, if I see you treating somebody different, and you keep saying that we're cool and we hang out and we do all these things, but like you're making it seem like we're cool, but you're doing all these things for these other friends.
That's not being done for you. Right.
I'm like, not necessarily being done for me, because like I said, every individual is different. But I think on the grand scheme of things, it's just like, that's weird. That's weird. I don't know. Does that make sense?
I'm picking up what you're putting down. I'm not sure if I fully agree.
Okay.
Because I think that might speak to what your expectation is of that friend. And your expectation of that friend might not be what they actually want with you. And that
interesting.
You might want this person to like be your bestest of best friend.
Yeah.
And maybe that person might be cool with going out with you, cackling, kicking, getting drinks, getting brunch, and all that. But they don't want to do all this extra stuff with you because they already have somebody else filling that category for them.
Yes.
So it's like, can you blame them because you put expectations on them for what you wanted in a friend for them? I mean, it's hurtful, especially when this person is telling you that they want you to be all of that.
Yeah.
But you gotta look at what they're doing.
Yeah. And that's why I've had conversations for a long time. I'm like, this person is not for me. So I just distance myself. And I just went ghost. I said, everybody gotta go. Sorry. Sayonara.
It's hurtful when people don't meet expectations.
Yeah.
Because I think we are like very, it's not that we're visual people, but we are like, say, dreamers in a way where we might fantasize what relationships and friendships could look like.
Yeah.
Based on the people who are around, and when they don't meet expectation, and when they are like starting to act unaccordingly to those expectations, it can be really hurtful.
Yeah.
But it's like, yeah, we have those expectations on that person because that's what we want. But if that person is not willing to give that, can we blame them?
But it's also crazy because these expectations I may see in a person, they expect of me. So it's like
that part.
Yeah.
That's also true.
So it's like, so you see how that gets kind of sticky? This is a little sticky situation. Like, you want that for me, but you can't do that for me as well. Like, it just gets weird.
Yeah. And that is strange and that is weird.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, when people want you to show up and like do so much for them, but they're not willing to give. It's like people who just want to take and not give.
Right.
And with that, I learned that I need better boundaries.
Facts.
Better boundaries, so I'm not taken advantage of. Because people like that will take advantage of you because they know that you are willing and that you have so much to give, because obviously they wouldn't be
all up in your face
around you if you ain't have nothing to give them, or they didn't enjoy or benefit from something. Not to say like you're benefiting off of me like
in a bad way,
like you're like a social climber. No, that's not the case. But it's like, you want someone to go to and talk to all the time when you're going through a hard time, you know I'm gonna pick up the phone. Right. You, I don't know, want someone to go out to drinks with when your other friends aren't available. I might not know that your other friends aren't available. I just know that you want to go out.
Right.
But you know I'm always down for a good time.
Right.
So you're more likely to call me. But if I try to call you to go out, oh, you're not free. If I want to talk to you about something that I have going on, oh, sorry,
I'm busy.
You're not free, you're busy. You know, so it's like,
it's hard. But definitely discernment and boundaries. Girl, when you start to set boundaries, when I tell you people are not going to like you, they're going to hit your guts. They're going to hit your guts.
The boundaries are not for them. Boundaries are for you.
Yeah, but it's because they can't overstep once you, especially like, I feel like for me in my dynamics and friendships or whatever, the last two breakups that I've had, as I reflected on those relationships, we've never had any issues. Right? So I'm put in a box as it is. They see me in one light. I'm laughing. I'm little funny Ari. I'm so sweet. Laughing at key. We make jokes. We crack jokes. We go out. We did chat. Whatever. And so now I don't have capacity, or you know, this action was crazy, friend. Like, what was happening? I'm confused. I'm genuinely confused. You know what I'm saying? Now I get painted to be in this bad light, and it's like, again, I think delivery is very important when you're discussing things with your friends. But I've also learned to, people who live in the fence are just going to be that. Sometimes I really do feel like it doesn't matter what you say, because I've tried my best to say things and not hurt people's feelings. They still get hurt. They still get offended. All right, cool, no problem, whatever. I've tried my best to omit things, so I'm like almost tiptoeing around people's feelings. But no one's tiptoeing around mine. No one's tiptoeing around mine. So it's like, people who don't like the truth, don't like being told that they're wrong, who don't want to see themselves in a different, you know, perspective, whatever the case is, people who want to live in the fence, they're going to do that. So I just feel like no matter what you say, as obviously it is about what you say and how you say it, but sometimes that doesn't even matter. People who live in the fence are going to be offended, and they're going to take what you say and twist it into something that it's not. And that's happened to me twice. Twice. And it's just like, bro, like, what? And each time my delivery was a little bit different. The first time around, I ain't gonna go into grave detail, but the way that I did it, I was influenced by the same person in the second issue. But to have a conversation with this person, but looking back, I blindsided the person, and I didn't realize it at the time. And I could understand where that person was coming from with the reaction, but with the response that I got. And then the second time, you know, I spelled out exactly what was done, how it made me feel, and I was still wrong. So it's like, you can't please people. You really just can't. So it's like people who live in offense, they're just gonna be offended. Like I just, you know, and so everyone wants to always make me out to be the villain. And it's like, why? Is it because I spoke up and I'm telling you how you made me feel? Like, how is me speaking about how you made me feel wrong? I would never understand that, but I'm like, you know what? It is what it is. Life moves on. We move on, and it is what it is. It's just like, I don't know. And I was also told that not everyone's me, and I'm just like, just because everyone's not me doesn't mean the bad response I receive on the end is okay either. It's not. Like, it's just not. There's certain treatment that I don't think I deserve, and that's why everybody gotta go. All y'all gotta go. So
yeah, I think that brings up another thing that's been on my mental roster. It's like, you can't always expect you from other people.
Yeah.
Expecting other people to treat you the way that you treat other people, expecting people to show up for you the way that you show up for other people, everything else far and few, like everything else in between, you're just going to set yourself up for disappointment and set yourself up for failure in your relationships. Like, you really have to see people for who they are and meet them where they are if you want to.
Right.
Like, I could see that you got all this going on and make the decision to accept that or leave it, but just to expect you to just treat me the way that I treat you, it's never going to happen.
Right.
It's never going to happen. And just forcing people to do that, forcing people to see and understand that, it's like a waste of breath sometimes, because also a lot of the times people know what they're doing to you, and they are actively making the decision to do that and to treat you that way, and they can sell you a sob story, they can give you a narrative about how their cat died and how they're going through a hard time, and blah 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 in between
excuses,
but they are actively making the decision to treat you that way. They're actively making the decision to do whatever it is, even if it's treating you with kindness. Like, that's a choice. That's a choice.
Every move you make is a choice, and that's why I said you gotta go, bro. Because what was said to me, there was certain language. I said you're purposely saying certain things, and you gotta go. It wasn't even about like I don't know. I'm not gonna go into great detail, but I was like, it was just certain stuff that was. I was like, yeah, you're being intentionally trifling, and you gotta go. Adios. Gotta go. So.
Yeah. You can't expect other people to have the same emotional maturity or immaturity as you. You can't expect other people to have the same communication skills or lack of communication skills as you. And you can't expect people to have the same work ethic as you or lack of work ethic. Like,
all that,
it's just not going to happen.
And that goes to say, for me, other people's lack. Oh, you said communication skills, boundaries, work ethic, all that. Not my responsibility, not your responsibility, not your responsibility. And even looking at different lenses, my lack, because I'm not saying I'm perfect, because there's areas where I know for a fact that I could tweak. No, it's not their responsibility. It's no one's responsibility. I can't be held responsible for conversations that others chose not to have. I can't be held responsible for other people's lack. Like, I can't be held responsible for other people's expectations of me. You know what I'm saying? Especially if I can't meet that. And especially
you make these expectations and assumptions on your own without my consent. You do that what you're gonna do. I didn't ask you to do all that. Right. To put all that on me.
Right.
But but this brings me back to what we said earlier. Because like, if we had that opinion, like, your what you put on me is not my problem, not my responsibility. Like, we really have to like be intentional about keeping that same mindset when it comes to us setting assumptions and expectations on other people. Yeah. Because like. When the cards fall, and it's like, you're the common denominator in all of your relationships. You're the good ones, the bad ones, the ugly. Like, you're the common denominator in all of them. All of it. So it's like, you really have to take a deep dive and a personal inventory of like who you are. Like, that's something that I have to do. Okay.
Yes.
What's working well for me in these relationships? What's not working well in these relationships? Like, what's the themes and patterns? Like, what? Am I beefing with my friends? If we're beefing, what are the things that we're beefing about? What do these conversations and arguments like look like? Like, why are we having these issues? How am I showing up as a friend? Like, because I think I can always do a better job, and there are times where I fall short. I'm not a perfect person. I don't think anybody's a perfect person, but it's so easy to put blame on other people for the things that don't go right, and for the hurtful things that people do. But it's like, I'm the common denominator. So it's like, maybe one thing that I could have done differently in this relationship was maybe advocate for myself more when things were not going well. Maybe once X, Y, and Z things were happening and I noticed that things were uncomfortable and you were not going to change, I should have said sayonara a long time ago. Why am I still here?
Right.
If I feel like I don't even want to pick up the phone when you call because you always got something going on in my ear,
that's a red
it's
flag.
my responsibility to say, hey, so-and-so, like, I hear you, but
I just don't have capacity.
I don't have it in me to have this conversation right now.
Right.
Or, hey, when we hang out, can we do something else? Can we maybe not gossip about this? Like, can we, just whatever the case may be. You know, it varies based on relationship, but
yeah, and situations, but
you're the common denominator. Like,
mm-hmm.
you gotta think about you. You only have control over you.
Yep.
You do not have control over other people, how other people respond, whether people like you, how like what they do. You don't have any control.
Yeah.
So like you have to be true and authentic to you, and listen to yourself and like.
Yeah, listen to up here.
Up here.
Also, too, I think it's important to never second guess yourself.
That was on my list too.
If you have a gut feeling that something's not right, something's not right. Don't let nobody question you, tell you that you're overthinking. Because I was told that I'm overthinking because I suffer from anxiety. Everyone knows that, but now everybody knows. So, you're just overthinking. No, I'm not. My gut and my brain is telling me something's not right. My fight or flight is kicking. Something's not right. Don't let nobody try to tell you otherwise, convince you otherwise. If you feel like there's something wrong, there's something wrong. Point blank period. And then if you want to have a conversation with this person and they say no, like this is not what it is. Okay, cool. Maybe just anxiety lessons. Okay, cool. They can, give you the tools that you need to confirm that everything's actually okay. But I'd rather my gut say, ding, 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 something's not right, and I say something, then not. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. So I would just say, if you feel like something's wrong, don't let no one try to convince you otherwise that your feelings are invalid, because how you feel is valid. People nowadays like to come up with all these things and try to invalidate your experience and how you feel just because they don't like what you said or they don't agree. Just because you don't like what I said or you don't agree with what I said doesn't mean there's no validity to it.
That's good. Just because you didn't like what I said doesn't mean there isn't any validity to it.
Right.
That's good.
I'm putting on the screen. There's validity to it. Just because you don't agree doesn't mean that how I feel is any more invalid because you don't because you can't comprehend or understand where I'm coming from. You don't want to understand. That's a choice.
Doesn't mean it's wrong.
It doesn't mean that how I feel is wrong. So it's like we can have a conversation, and I think another thing too nowadays is that people are not willing to actually have proper conversations with others. It's like, how do you claim that you like someone or you care about someone, and you get into a tiff, whatever the case is, but your automatic response is to respond into the nasty, negative way, and then expect that person to still be in your life? How? Huh? I'm confused. That just doesn't make sense to me. And I really wish, like I said, we're 27 years old. We're not perfect. We're not. Everyone has some sort of work to do. I've been working on myself for the past 4 years, and I still need a little oil in my tank. You know what I'm saying? A little grease in my tank, and that's fine. But I really do think communication can go so far, but people are not willing to actually sit down and have productive conversation, and I feel like it's so sad because it's like we ruin a lot of relationships trying to be funny, trying to throw shots and throw shade and do all this extra stuff instead of actually being grown enough, mature enough to sit and have hard conversations. We're not 5. We're not in high school where we're cackling and kicking with our friends in the locker room, like whatever we was doing in high school, like whatever. Like, we are grown, functional adults in society. We pay bills. We in debt. We outside. Like, we need to have productive conversations with people that you claim that you love and care about, and we don't do that enough. And it's unfortunate. Because in a lot of these dynamics that I was in, I feel like, are these conversations hard? Yes, but I'm willing to have this conversation. Everybody else want to be childish. What am I supposed to do with that? Like, what am I supposed to do with that? And once you show me you being childish, I don't got time. You got to go. You have to go. And it's like, even in these dynamics or whatever the situation is, it could be your relationships, friendships, whatever. If we're in a tiff, I'm really going to pay attention and to listen to what you say, right? Because for me, what you say, what you're willing to say, what you're willing to do is going to show me everything I need to know about you. And a lot of times, when you're in these dynamics and in these spaces, people show you who they are all throughout your duration of y'all being friends, or you being in this dynamic relationship or whatever with these people. They've been showed you who they was, but now it's
your responsibility to listen to that.
Right, and it's like now you guys are in problems now. So is it really surprising that this person is responding the way that they are? Not really. So for me, I'm like, well, I'm not really surprised because this person has done this before with other people. So it's not surprising that this is the response that I'm getting. You know, so I just said, you know, it's time to go. If that's what you're willing to do, and you claim that you love me, you care about me, but that's what you're willing to say, that's what you're willing to do, I don't need no parts of that. I'm good.
Yep.
So,
and I think that even goes with intimate relationships too, because someone could say that they love you and all their actions like don't align. And it's like for any relationship that you get into, like the red flags that you see in the beginning will be the things that make that relationship end.
Precisely.
Like you really have to pay attention and not make excuses for people and not rationalize people's behaviors, because people show you and tell you exactly who you are. And you can't blame nobody but yourself when things don't work out, because this person is the way that they are, or you are the way that you are. But okay, they told you who they were. They showed you who they were time and time and time again. Yeah, it's hurtful, but why do you think you're different? You can't save anybody. You can't raise anybody. You can't.
Y'all playing house with all these men.
Stop playing house with these men.
Stop doing it.
Stop doing it.
Stop.
These men barely pay bills. They could barely hold jobs.
A lot of them not even in school. They don't got no type of.
They can barely keep friends.
Yeah.
They don't know God.
That's a big one. They don't know the Lord.
If you don't have a relationship with the Lord,
you gotta get out my face, babe. At least some sort of dynamic.
First and foremost, if you don't have a relationship with the Lord,
that's a big one. That one right there.
There's no conversation. You ain't even gotta look at me.
You gotta have something.
I'm Stevie Wonder.
Everyone's dynamic with the Lord is different. You gotta have something.
Nah,
something.
Our standards might be a little bit different on that one, because
I know my journey.
Something could be, I pray now I lay me down to sleep.
No.
I'm not doing that with you. I'm sorry to say.
No, actually,
that's a starting point.
Yeah, a starting point.
At this big age,
yeah, you gotta have some sort of relationship. Yeah, understood. Son gotta get babe.
Yeah, if you don't have a relationship with the Lord, but like a lot of these men, like in this generation, have normalized. Oh, like we could get an apartment together. We could get a house together.
We could have a child.
Together. But when you talk about marriage, what's the point of marriage? Marriage is just a piece of paper.
Well,
you put a whole baby in this girl and you don't want to give her a ring.
Make that make sense, sir, and quickly.
You worried about the money aspect. Like, if we get a divorce, I don't want to have to give her my money. What money?
That's T. What money? What money?
Half of y'all will argue over who gonna pay the bill when y'all go out to eat.
You went to Chili's. Longhorn, please.
And I'm not saying y'all gotta go to like Chop House, Oyster Bar, and grill, whatever.
Or freaking, you gotta fly out to Atlanta to go to Nobu. Y'all don't gotta do all that. You know what I'm saying?
But if you ask somebody on a date, make sure you got money to pay for that date. But also, at the same token, ladies, stop going out
with
broke.
No money.
And stop only going out to eat with these men or do whatever cackle and kiki in these men's face because you think you're going to get a meal out of it.
I don't think. Do you think girls be getting... Well, no.
A free meal out of it?
Some girls, they do that, yeah.
Stop doing that.
You're just like PD said, you're a spoiled apple for the bunch. Because the girls, we trying to... Some of the girls actually trying to get to know people and have a good time. But y'all...
ruining it for everybody.
For everybody else. Like, I like a little cheesecake, a little Chili's, Longhorn. I like that stuff.
Yeah.
If someone wants
to take me to Texas Roadhouse and give me a biscuit. What? Red Lobster? But like, no, but in all honesty, like, and And girls, it tickles me that y'all make me empathize for the men.
Yeah.
Because there are women that I see who are using and ruining good men. Why are you expecting a man at this age, this big age, but also this young...
This big age and this young age, go ahead.
This big age and this young age to be able to...
fully financially support
to fund your life.
To fund your lifestyle. That's crazy.
Why are you expecting men to fund your life?
Crazy.
Are you unemployed?
Like, do we see the economy, like the economy that we're in right now?
And a man that's not even married to you, you want him to pay your rent, pay for your car, pay for every single date you go on,
your
buy
hair,
you flowers every day,
nails,
buy you new bundles, pay for your... Where's your money going?
Social media has really damaged our brains. Men and women are like, all our brains are fried.
You mad because your man can't fly you out for your birthday? Can you afford a flight for yourself?
Can you?
Because what are we talking about here?
Right.
For all that, you might as well get a sugar daddy.
I don't even think that's worth it, to be honest.
Because you are looking for a parent.
Mm-hmm.
Not someone that you genuinely care about outside of their pockets.
Right.
And
I think that's what's got a lot of people skewed. People are not genuinely looking for actual connection anymore. They're just looking for funds.
They're looking for an employer.
Lifestyle and what they see on Instagram and TikTok. Like, what happened to genuine love and connection? Or a quickie session to get their willies wet. Like, please.
And that's another thing.
Yeah.
I don't be on these dating apps. I don't got time for that. But please be. Listen, me and the girls, when you get on these dating apps, please be clear about what you want. Stop getting on these dating apps, talking to people like you want genuine love and connection, and
which
you want
you're not
a
going to find
relationship.
on there. More times than not, you're not going to find.
You're not. But there are people.
It's very rare that you actually find someone who has been on a dating app and they actually find someone who wants what they have. Who want my arm looks great. The gym been working me. It's very rare that you will find someone who has found authentic love off those dating apps. But it's very rare that you'll find that.
But that requires two people who have the exact same intentions on these apps to find one another.
Yeah.
But you have people who get on these apps just because they want to hook up.
Yeah.
Talking to people, talking to the girls or talking to the guys like they want a long and genuine relationship. That's not what they want. Why do you keep lying?
Right.
Stop being deceitful. Be honest, because there are plenty of people in this world who want the exact same thing that you want.
Right.
Why are you going to go after somebody who doesn't want what you want? That's selfish.
Yeah.
That's rude. And that's mean.
It's weird. It's weird.
That's strange.
That's
really strange. So it's like, I don't know. In your relationships, really use your discernment.
Yeah.
Trust that gut feeling. Whatever you got going on, that's your discernment.
Yeah.
Listen to it because that's your spirit telling you that there's something not right.
Mm-hmm.
Look at this a little bit deeper. Explore. Because that saves you a significant amount of hurt. A significant time, hurt, patience, money.
But yeah, I've heard that the dating apps are a little bit slower now because men just ruin everything. They really do. And the girls are like, no, we just gonna stay home and heal. And I'm proud of us. Like healing is such a beautiful process. And also I didn't mention it before, we were talking about some other stuff like friendship and relationship dynamics. I also want to kind of say too, like, it's important for the people you're surrounding yourself with to not keep you in a box and keep you in the space that you were once in. And especially if you're actively trying to make a change and make a difference, don't let nobody keep you in a box. That's what I've learned with certain situations. People have kept me in this space. People have kept me in this space or in this box. And I was trying to grow and heal on my own. I'll talk about this a little bit more. I'm not going to go into grave detail, but I did whatever work that I needed to do to heal, and it feels like it was as if they were shoving me in this box. They won't let me out.
That remind me of this proverb Mom used to say, show me your company and I'll tell you who you are.
Right.
You really need to be mindful of the people that you keep around you, because if people are not doing anything with themselves, why are you hanging around those people if you want to be someone that aspires to something in life?
And everyone's healing journey is different too. Again, I'm not going to go into great details, but everyone's healing journey is different, and you can't make people feel bad because they're not healing at your pace, your time, your way. That's not how healing works.
Yeah.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And like kind of like we mentioned before, if you don't have capacity, you have to be mature enough to say that to whoever you're, confiding in, whether it's your friend, your boyfriend, whoever. You have to be mature enough to say, yo, I just don't have capacity, man. But at the same time, it's not your place to sit there and tell somebody how to grow, or tell someone, well, let me not say tell. It's not anyone else's place to force someone to grow and heal because you don't have capacity. If that makes sense. Right? And I get it. When you're confiding in people about certain things, I do think that what you go through impacts your people, especially if they really do care about you. But at the same time, you can't rush my healing process because you're being impacted by what I'm confiding in you in, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I can hear you, I can take your advice, but also using your discernment, because not all advice is good advice. You know what I'm saying? Not all advice is good advice. So for me, had to figure it out on my own. I didn't take my friend's advice at the time. I didn't take their advice because I was like, this is awful advice. this is not good advice. I was like, I'm not doing that. Girl, no. Boy, no. Like, I'm not doing that. No. So, discernment really is just the general theme of today's video. Use your discernment, use your judgment, and just be mindful of how you navigate, who you surround yourself with, what relationships you get into, because it's all just very important. And all the relationships that you get into, whether it's friendships or romantic relationships, you're going to learn something about yourself. There's always going to be some sort of lesson. You have to take everything in this life as a lesson, because it really is. Yeah.
That was the only bullet point on your list.
I know. We talked about so much. We did.
We just talked about friends, my love.
I know. Yeah. And friends and relationships, really. But that was the one thing we learned in our 20s. So I have go to therapy and be intentional about your session. Let's skip one, but yeah.
Go to therapy.
Go to therapy. Go to therapy. When I tell you, just kind of going back, like, if you are someone who's struggling mentally with something, whether it's your self-esteem, things you have going on at home, the world, identity crisis, what have you, going to therapy and being intentional and being purposeful, coming with, like, I don't want to say an agenda, but an agenda, not necessarily an agenda for real, but like an agenda. When I tell you, going to therapy was one of the best investments I've made in my entire life. Like, I am so glad I took my time. And that's another thing. When you go to therapy, be intentional and take your time. If you got insurance and you got to pay a copay, that your therapist is going to continue to take your copay. Take your time. Take your time. I can't emphasize that enough. Take your time. We have a whole life of things to unpack, especially if you grew up in a house full of trauma. Like, you have a whole life to unpack on top of dealing with everyday things, your self-esteem, your financial situation, and all these things. Take your time. Don't let nobody rush your healing process. Take your time and don't let nobody make you feel bad about it either.
Ooh. From a therapist perspective.
Yeah.
I'll say something, but not too much.
Yeah.
I think sometimes some people think going to therapy will be what fixes them.
Mm-hmm.
Just because you have a therapist doesn't mean that all of your problems are going to be fixed.
Right.
And
you still have to do that outside work.
Just because you are matched with a therapist doesn't mean that that's a therapist that is the right fit for you.
Yep.
Just because you go to therapy doesn't mean that your therapist knows how to read your mind. Like, you're right, like, have to, one, have an agenda of things that you want to work through, but two, you also have to be willing to hear what it is that your therapist is saying to you and the things that they want to process with you. Because there's a lot that you can get. I mean, not to say that your therapist should be talking the entire time at you. Right. It's a conversation. It's self-exploration. And you having a starting point is helpful, but there's so much insight that you can get from allowing someone to kind of see the picture that you're drawing and be able to make the connection of the different colors that you're using. Right. And really, like, be able to offer you perspective on some of the experiences that you have had. and on some of the things that you're feeling. But that requires an open heart and an open mind to be able to go into that experience and say, okay, like, how do I need to change or better myself, for myself, and also for the betterment of my relationships with other people. And also, like, sometimes your therapist might give you advice. Just because you're going to therapy doesn't mean that your therapist is going to tell you what to do. I specifically do not tell people what to do because I don't want the responsibility of you doing of me giving you bad advice. You do it. I'm not doing that. But you can't expect that your therapist is going to change your world. They're just someone that's like sitting in the passenger seat of the car while you are driving. No, they're literally a support person. And that's it. So separately from the therapy note, one thing, social media is like rotting people's brains.
Yeah, our brains are fried, bro.
And it's like, I want people to stop trying to live up to the Joneses if you can't afford to live up to the Joneses.
Keeping up with the Joneses?
Well, keeping up with the Joneses and living like the Joneses too. Like, stop doing it. If these jobs are not paying enough for people to be putting themselves in credit card debt, the way that people are in credit card debt, or literally unable to pay their bills because they're trying to live these lavish lifestyles to impress people who don't really care about them. When you work and you make your money, the only person that's paying your bills is you. Okay? Like, you don't have to explain anything to anybody about why you have this, why you don't have that. People are going to make assumptions about you regardless of what you do. But why go out of your way to, like, make yourself perceived one way when that's not who you are? And that's not...
Social media got your brains fried.
Social media has people's brains fried. And it's like, people in our generation that I've observed and that I've learned is that there's very poor financial management. How you manage your money now is so important. And it's like, I understand that our parents didn't really have the means to really teach us financial literacy. But at this age of, like, being almost 30, to a degree, it's not an excuse anymore to, like, have very poor financial management.
Like, I've seen people in credit card debt, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000. I'm like,
on things that they don't need.
What?
Stop living above your means. I understand outside is very expensive, so it means might be a little low. But why live above your, like, having a budget is so important. But yeah, I think it's really important to have a budget. And you don't have to have anybody else justify your budget, have other people make you feel bad for your budget. Everybody is in a different financial place right now, and that is okay.
Especially with this economy, bro.
Especially with this economy, you know what your means are. You might feel some type of way because I'm not going on that vacation with you for the holidays or your birthday or whatever the case may be.
I don't got the means for it, babe.
I am so sorry that I can't go. I really want to be in Cancun having a margarita with you. I unfortunately don't have the means to do that, so I'm going to sit this one out, and that is okay. I don't need you making me feel bad or making it seem like I'm a bad friend because I don't got it to go to Cancun with you for your birthday. And just, like, everyone is in a different place, and I'm not going to kill myself and put myself in debt just to keep up with you. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that because it's gonna get me it's not gonna get me anywhere. And I understand, like, where I am financially and all the responsibilities that I have. I know what my budget is. I know what is in that budget. I know what I need to do and when I should start looking for something to make me more money. Like, it is what it is, and that's a real conversation. And it's like, it's so unfortunate that, like,
so many people feel like they have to keep up with everybody else, but it's like they know that they're not in the financial position, but they do it anyways. And now when your rent is due, you don't got no money. When you gotta pay your car note, you got no money. You can't call none of your friends to help pay your bill for you.
The people that were pressuring you to go to Cancun, they're not looking to help you pay for your bills.
No, they're not putting groceries in your refrigerator. They're not
helping you
finance you in school.
And if your friends are people who will make you feel bad for not having the financial means to do things,
those are not your friends.
Those are not your friends. I see those people as opportunists. Because like, I just don't understand, like, how you can be friends with someone and not empathize with, oh, this person doesn't have the means to do this. And it's like, if you know that your friend's financial position is what it is, why continue to plan things with said friend, understanding that it's not something that they can afford? Because that's something that's putting pressure on your friend to go to, because they don't want to miss out, or they feel like they have to be there because you're going to feel some type of way if they're not present. But it's like really going in one ear and out the other with understanding that they really don't have the means to do that. But also, and that's not right.
Yeah, it's not. But I also do feel like there are just some people out in the world who really just don't, I don't want to say they don't care, but they have a fear of missing out, right? For whatever reason. So they're literally put themselves in all this debt trying to keep up with everybody else. And if you're that type of person, you have to take responsibility for your actions as well.
Yes. And another thing is, if you don't have money, stay home.
Stay home.
Stay home. Because you know the amount of time I've gone out to eat with people, and I didn't know that my friend or whoever the case may be did not have money.
Stop going out if you don't have money. Like, and I really don't want to be insensitive to people's experiences, because I know times are very, very hard. Sometimes you just want to go out with your girls and have a drink. I understand and I get it, but you don't have no money. And if you don't have money, say something before we leave. Like, let somebody know. What are we doing?
Literally let somebody know. And I understand it's hard to have that conversation sometimes, but like, me and my girls, like, we have a rapport enough, and like with our friends we have a rapport enough where it's like, or like a relationship enough where it's like, you know, oh, like, you want to go out to eat? Can't do it. It's not in the budget. I don't got it. And it's like, I'm like, all right, like, if I got money, you got money. Let's go out to eat.
Let's go.
Or they say the same thing, like, girl, don't worry about it. Like, I got you. But don't not have a conversation, and then when we get out to the restaurant, the bill comes, and you click clack on your phone, texting me, can you pay for my bill?
That's not fair.
It's not fair. And what if I only got enough for me? Granted, if I know my pockets are low, I'm not going anywhere. But it's also like,
I think that's very inconsiderate.
It is inconsiderate.
It's very inconsiderate.
And it's also selfish, because you're putting people in a position, and it's also like, did you just expect that this is something that I was going to do and this was okay? Why do you think it's okay to go out knowing that you don't have money, and to expect that other people are going to
just pay for
cover it for you? Because
you want to know why that is? Because people who do that have experience people paying for them to do things anyways. That's like the only conclusion.
It's like entitlement.
They're used to people paying for their lifestyle to whatever capacity, so they go out, they go out into the world, they go to these places and spaces with no money, ordering all the fancy drinks, ordering all the food, and then when the bill comes, everybody, you know, diarrhea in their pants. Oh my God, I don't have the money. And it's like, bro, why didn't you say anything before you left the house? We should have a rapport enough, like you said, to say, yo, like, I really don't got it. I want to go out with y'all. I just don't got it. And then we could just be like, all right, cool. We all put in a little $10 for your meal. Cool, no problem. Because for me, if I'm going out with the girls, I don't care how much you spending. If you don't got it, I got it. Especially if I got paid, I'm rich. I'm rich. If I know I got a little extra coins in my pocket, I am rich. Let's go. It's not a problem. But the problem is, a lot of y'all have a fear of missing out, and then put yourselves in these spaces and places you don't got no business being in. You don't got no business being there. And I understand, like I said, and I get it. You don't have the financial resources, but that's why you speak up and you say something to your friends.
Ain't no shame in my game. I got no qualms about saying, sorry, boo, love you. Let's do something for free. Or,
you know, literally.
Y'all have fun.
I'm like, listen.
I ain't got it this week. How about next week? Like, I
got
no qualms about it.
No shame.
Because it's expensive outside and nobody's paying my bills but me.
But me. Yep. And so it's just unfortunate that people do that. And it's like, I understand where you're coming from, but on the flip side, y'all have to stop putting y'all places in a lot of y'all have to stop putting yourself in these places and spaces you don't got no business being in, because you don't have the financial resources. And it's not, and I'm not trying to be an a-hole. I'm really, really not. Because some people's situations really are just really shitty. Excuse my French. It really is. But if you know your situation is pretty much garbage, why are you so forcing yourself to do these things in the first place? It makes no sense.
I mean, also with that, I will continue to reinforce, if you are friends with someone and you know what their situation is, be a good friend and offer opportunities of things that you can do to spend time with them that don't require you to blow a bag and to spend unnecessary money. It's common courtesy. It's consideration. If you and your girls like to have a good time, you can have a good time doing quite anything. Doesn't require you to be at a bottomless mimosa brunch
Right.
and, you know, go to the beach.
Right. Y'all can go to Family Dollar, get y'all some $3 chips, a couple of $3 chips, get y'all some juice. go to Stop and Shop, get you some fruit.
Have a girls' night, have a girls' game night.
Liquor
like,
store, get you a $12 bottle. Everybody get a bottle. We lit.
it's a good time. Like, it's
There's
just,
so many things that you can do.
But I do empathize with people who like are friends with other people who they're in different financial brackets with, and they feel like that pressure, and like their friends treat them badly or like clown on them or make them feel some type of way because they don't have the means to do all the things that they
and
like
if you're
to
friends
do.
with someone like that, you shouldn't be their friend anyways because they're just awful friends.
If they're not considerate of you,
I think
that's not your friend.
I think on either sides of the coin, you gotta be considerate. You just have to. You have to be considerate of the person who doesn't have the financial resources, but the person who doesn't have the financial resources needs to be considerate of other people too. Because when you
there's a reason why they're looking at you and they reached out to you or they expected that you will cover them.
Right.
Stop pocket watching people. Stop pocket watch your own coins.
Right. And I don't know, but yeah, that was pretty. This is gonna be a pretty long episode. I'll tell you that right now. We talk about a lot of stuff, but yeah. This was a pretty long episode. We talked about a lot, dissected a lot. You guys got a little bit of input on our reviews and like some of our experiences. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. Do you have any last minute words, sister?
No, that was it. Thank you.
All right, y'all. So thank you guys for tuning into this video. Subscribe if you haven't already. If you want to follow us on social media, all of our links will be down below. Give this video a thumbs up. And yeah, that's pretty much it for today's video. So we'll catch you guys next week in the next video. Toodaloo. Bye-bye.